Here, read this.
Woof.
Coming at you curmudgeonly from John Kay's bookshop in Edinburgh, these are 3 book reviewing habits that really boil my pish. Now, these aren't in any particular order, and it's certainly not a comprehensive list. These are just the 3 book reviewing habits that got stuck in the wrong craw this morning. Now, as I do review books myself, I have to say up front, I have almost certainly committed all 3 of these sins in my own writing. So this is just as much a mea culpa as it is grousing about my colleagues in the biz. So number 1 then, books that overstay their welcome. I'm not sure whether it's the content or the tone that I dislike more about this particular phrase. It assigns a snootily proprietorial attitude to the imagined reader, but I'm also not sure how relevant the whole question of welcome is. We've just had Banned Book Week here in the bookshop community, and the whole premise of that particular week is celebrating the books that made themselves very much unwelcome. I used to be very attracted to Martin Amis's idea of writers hosting their readers. He would say this in interviews repeatedly. He always kept his preferred sort of pieces polished and ready for reuse. But he used to talk about how Nabokov would welcome the reader in, sit him in his comfiest chair, give him a cigar, give him a glass of his finest wine, and then serve him a nourishing meal. Whereas a writer like Joyce would have given you misleading directions to a rank old bedsit where it wouldn't be obvious if he was in or not. He'd have cooked some powdered spuds and assumed you'd brought your own drink. But I'm no longer sure either whether Amis was right in his assessment of the hospitality of Joyce and Nabokov, for starters, but also whether or not writers should even treat readers like underfed wastrels tumbling in off the street. It feels like people who put the reader on a pedestal invariably end up treating them like a sacred stick of wood. Now then, number 2, something we could do well to remember in our own troubled times. This one is definitely tone and not a content issue. Of course, book reviewers should connect their subjects to issues of the modern day, but too often this is the culminating bromide at the end of a fence-sitting review. Something we would do well to remember in our own anxious times. The fact that you could say that of virtually any book and in virtually any age is proof that the remark is fatuous. A book reviewer should point out exactly what troubles that the book under review addresses. And finally, and this is a bit of a broader one, recapitulations posing as reviews. This is not to be confused with summary, which is another essential part of any book reviewer's toolkit. And this can be found, I'm afraid to say, in literary periodicals. But I'm particularly thinking of people closer to my own orbit here on YouTube, posting what are alleged to be deep dives of classic texts that turn out to be recapitulations of the plot that run almost the length of the text itself. That is not a deep dive. You are confusing length with depth and diving with skimming. So yes, if we could all take those lessons on board, I'd be much cheered. Thank you for your time, and think on't.